If you look at the walls of almost any tattoo shop in the world today, you are surrounded by a very specific type of artwork. There are framed sheets of paper covered in classic drawings, skulls, eagles, daggers, and roses, all clean, pre-drawn, and ready to be picked right off the wall. The industry calls this flash. If you ask a casual fan or a young collector today where that name comes from, they'll probably guess it's a modern marketing term. They assume it just means a quick, fast session, or that it refers to the speed of a modern studio camera. But if you take a step back into the late 1800s and early 1900s, you find that the vocabulary of the modern studio was actually forged in a world of traveling caravans and outdoor midways. The word flash didn't start in a studio. It was borrowed from the slang of the early American carnival and circus trade. In the language of 19th century carnival workers and street showmen, the word flash was used to describe anything that was bright, high contrast, and explicitly designed to catch the eye of a distracted passerby. It referred to the flashy banners over the tents, the bright paint on the games, and the prizes meant to lure people in. Because early traveling tattoo artists operated right alongside these carnival attractions, they adopted the term for their own display sheets. They painted their sample designs with heavy watercolor tones and hung them right outside their tents to serve as the visual flash that would hook customers walking by. This focus on immediate visual impact and efficiency completely shaped the practical layout of the classic designs themselves. If you look closely at early vintage flash sheets, you'll notice that almost all the profiles, animals, and ships are drawn facing to the left. To a casual observer, it looks like a strange, random artistic preference. The vast majority of early tattooists were right-handed. But early street tattooers did this for a highly practical, ergonomic reason. Working under poor lighting in a circus tent, a right-handed artist naturally maneuvers from left to right across the skin. By drawing the flash sheets facing left, the artist could pull the heaviest black outlines without their own hand blocking their field of vision. This emphasis on workflow efficiency is the exact reason why the early masters guarded their stencils like absolute gold. Before modern copiers, copying a design onto human tissue required a process known as acetate stenciling. An artist would take clear acetate and use an engraving needle to manually scratch the outline. This was grueling work that often fell to apprentices. Once the groove was cut, the artist would rub a thick, dark charcoal powder directly into the scratches, wipe the surface clean, and press the plastic plate against petroleum jelly on the client's skin. The jelly would pull the charcoal out, leaving a fragile outline on the body. Because these plastic blocks could be used thousands of times, they were the literal lifeblood of a shop's income, often passed down in family wills. These acetate blocks didn't just preserve a portfolio, they were the primary way tattooing evolved globally before the internet existed. Instead, they would take a piece of thin paper, lay it over their etched acetate block, and rub a graphite pencil across it to create a physical transfer, known as a rub. These rubs were mailed across oceans, allowing iconic designs to circulate worldwide and creating the shared, universal visual language of the traditional era. But as the trade began to settle into permanent city buildings in the early 20th century, the structure of the shops had to adapt. In early urban districts like the Bowery, artists operated out of what were known as slots or joints, tiny, narrow booths partitioned off in saloons or arcade alleys. These cramped setups weren't just due to high rent, they were a deliberate choice for privacy and security. Tattooing was frequently frowned upon by local authorities and viewed with deep skepticism by the general public. Operating behind curtains prevented rival neighborhood tattooers from looking through the front window to copy their custom flash styles off the wall. This environment of intense local competition meant that early artists had to rely on street-level reputation rather than formal legal protections. Disputes over intellectual property were settled directly on the street floor through reputation or physical intimidation. To protect their businesses, early masters would paint subtle, highly specific geometric details into the framing lines, a secret visual signature. If a copycat tried to display a stolen design, the local community of creators could instantly identify the true origin, enforcing an unwritten code of ethics. The shift toward the word studio only happened later, in the mid-20th century, as part of a calculated effort to preserve the craft from total legal extinction. In the 1960s, public health departments began passing strict bans on tattooing, blaming the trade for public health issues. To survive, the leading artists of that era completely revolutionized their business models. They moved away from the casual parlor aesthetic, remodeled their spaces to look like pristine medical clinics, and invested in sterilization equipment like autoclaves. They consciously adopted the term studio from the fine art world. It was a deliberate, sophisticated repositioning to prove they were serious craftsmen. Understanding this trajectory, from the outdoor carnival tents to the celluloid acetate blocks, completely changes the way we look at design preparation today. The fundamental puzzle of the craft has never changed. It is always about how to translate a concept onto the moving, irregular surface of the human body. That exact process of careful planning is why the digital workspace at alicetattoos.com was built. The goal was to build a tool that respects historical discipline. If you are working through a concept, you can access the official Alice Companion application right now on both the Apple App Store and Google Play. It is engineered to serve as a modern utility for the planning phase, providing access to advanced design tools so you can map out a permanent legacy. Because a tattoo is never just a passing fashion accessory. It is a permanent declaration of personal identity and self-ownership. The tools we use and the stencils we place on the skin are all tied to a deep, century-old human tradition of resourcefulness and resilience. When you approach your canvas with historical awareness, you stop chasing the temporary noise of the internet and start building a story that stands up to time. If this journey into the real etymology of flash art gave you a fresh perspective today, hit that subscribe button and join our community. We drop story-driven case studies on the deep history and reality of this trade every single week, focusing entirely on the substance of the craft. I want to hear from you in the comments below. Do you find yourself preferring the time-tested structure of traditional flash, or do you always lean toward custom pieces? Take care of your canvas, explore the tools available to plan your next piece, and I'll catch you on the next deep dive. This is the Science of the Mark. Subscribe if you want to know how the game actually works. Peace. Respect the physics. Respect the history. Respect the craft.